you see the software there. Are we okay? So what I want to do is I want to rename this. It's too long. I just call it Chrome. I just call it Chrome. So it's Chrome.what MSI, and then copy it and then come here and paste it. All right. So we have it in there. So on the sharing side, that is all that you do. And this process applies to when it comes to doing wallpaper for the organization or something. It's the same process. You have to create the location where the wallpaper is going to sit, and then you put the image there. Then you access it. So this is inside properties. Let me just pick the path. So it is inside DC1 software /Chrome dot. So now to the server manager. All right. So we are going to create another group policy object. So server manager tools, group policy management. And then we drop down. We went through this yesterday, so we don't have to worry much. So you create your object first, new group policy object. We'll call this software installation. And then we click OK. All right, so we have our object. The next is to edit it. So you right click and then you edit. So I think software installation, you can do it under both user configuration and then computer configuration. So you can either do it so that it affects the computer, you can do it so that it affects the user, whichever way is okay. So we do want to do computer or user. Let's go with the user configuration. So when you right click here, you have new and then you have package. So you now have to put the package path there. So /DC1 /softwares open, and then you select this and then okay. Now the reason why what's the name? I put the path there is if you select this PC and use the E, the path will come as drive E. And what that means is that when the users are trying to find the software, they'll try to look for E, but then it wouldn't be on their drive E. So it's always good to put the network path rather than the local path. So there are two options. You can either publish the software or you can assign it. Now, if the software is published, what it means is that when the users log in, automatically the software will be installed. Then when it is assigned, it will be assigned to the user. But then when the user logs in, the user has to go to the control panel to go and do the installation. We can go with the advanced and then see what options are there for us. So with advanced, it's more like we now want to configure the installation process. So it gives us the name of the software is Google Chrome, and then the publisher information is not there, but the platform is x64. So mostly you have to make sure that the software you are getting is from a trusted source. Then when you come to the deployment, we have the published. So there are two options: auto install this application by file extension activation, or if the goal is to uninstall it, you can uninstall. Then the installation user interface option uses the maximum. You can do basic. Basic means that it's going to have that small screen. Then we have the assigned. If it is assigned, you can say that install this software at application at logon, What this means is that when the person logs on automatically, this is going to be installed. So I think I turned them. When it is published, it will be published and then it will be sitting in the add or remove programs. The user will have to go and then do the installation. But when it is assigned, automatically, when we select install this software at log on, when the users log on, automatically the software will be installed for them on their system. Then we have the upgrades. Maybe you have an older version and then you have downloaded a new version which is going to upgrade the existing one. You can do that. And then you can also decide where in control panel you want this to sit. Are we okay? So when you go to control panel, we have add or remove programs. You can select the category where you want it to be. So I don't think this is relevant here. And then we don't have any modifications. So we can't really do any modifications here, but you can add if you have a file that you're going to use to modify the settings. So you can customize the package, add things like product keys and then all that if that's what you are doing. And then the security. So who has access to it? So you can see that authenticated users are listed here. So they can read. So they will be able to do the installation when the time comes. So just click OK. And so the file has been assigned. The file has been assigned. So with this, we can close this. And as usual, you first have to link it. So we link it at the domain level. Yes. And after linking it, we'll run the GP update. Run the GP update. Sometimes right after running the GP update, you may see the icon of the software on the desktop of the device. But if not, once, so it says that what some of the user will require you to log off and log back on. Do you want to log off? So we say yes, we want to log off. And so we'll sign out. And then this is on the server. Remember, I linked it to the entire domain and the administrator is part of the authenticated users. That is why it's happening like that. So so you see installing managed software, Google Chrome. So you can see that the software is installing. So at this point, I'll just go to the client also. Then all right, so this is my client. This is my client. Let me just make sure that the IP settings is okay. Might be okay. All right, so the IP settings is okay. It's pointing to the default gateway is .2. Well, we didn't put gateway information there, but then that's fine. And then all right, let me see if we can reach the server. Ping. All right, so we are no, which IP did I put there? Okay, .128. All right, so we are good. We don't have a problem. And I'm sure we should still be able to browse, even though you're saying there is no internet, because when it forwards it to the server, I'm sure the server will be able to do the resolution. But that's not why we are here. I'm coming. I'll check. Okay, I'm coming. Let me just be sure that my DNS is working. So ping maverick dot local. All right, so we don't have a problem. So what I want to do is I'll just open the command prompt and then run the GP update. GP update space /force. So let's switch back to the server and then see. So you can see that on the server, the Chrome has been installed, and when you click on it, so basically the user doesn't have to do anything. The user doesn't have to do anything. It just works like that. This is, it could not update successfully. There were errors were encountered. There was lack of network connectivity. Okay, I'm coming. Let's see something. Open network and network insurance center. One 192.168.19 PHCP EMS. But there is network access. So what is this telling me? All right. But then we need to find what the problem is. So administrator, because this is on a domain, that is why you can't manually alter the configuration. Okay, so 192.168.19.8. All right, so let's add okay, so it has internet access now, but I don't think that should be the reason why the GP update didn't work. Let's rerun the GP update. Oh, computer could not be updated. The following errors occurred. The processing of the group policy because lack of network connectivity to a domain controller. Okay. Okay, let me quickly restart this system. If not, we'll have to take it off the domain and rejoin it to the domain. And I think everything should be fine. Sometimes these things happen. Please, the MSI, please, what extension is that? Okay, so MSI is Microsoft Software Installation. MSI is Microsoft Software Installation. So that is the file extension that Microsoft themselves have. And mostly it's because they want to make sure that the source of the software is trusted. And so when the developer creates the software, they repackage it just to make sure that everything is okay. Desmond, you good? So at least we have ourselves a real life problem we need to troubleshoot. But the policy is working, just that our client is not in communication with the domain controller. So that is the challenge we have there. That is the challenge we have there. So CMD GP update base /force. So let me check the date and time on the server to make sure that our client's date and time is also the same. Okay, so I think this is where our problem is. Let's go back to the client. The client's time is 7:45 p.m. and then the server's time is 12:45. So I'm suspecting they are on different time zones. Let me see the time zone. I'm hoping this solves our problem. Then we wouldn't have to take it off. No, but wait. Okay, it has completed successfully. Well, so we don't have a problem after all. But the time on the client is different from the time on the server. Sometimes that can also be an issue. Sometimes that can also be an issue. Whilst we are waiting, let me check if I did not do block inheritance here yesterday. Tools, group policy management. All right, so IT. Okay, so I don't think there's any block inheritance. No, there's no block inheritance. So it should be fine. So when we come here, let's give it time to finish, and I'm sure that will be okay. So that is how you deploy software on the network using group policy. Any questions so far? All right, no questions, so we can move on, right? So we also mentioned folder redirection. Now, the concept of folder redirection comes in when you have an environment where users move from one location to the other. You know, by default, any system that you log on to, your profile is created in that system. Are we okay? Any system you log on to, your profile is created in that system. What that means is that if a user uses a computer and then he moves to another computer, typically administrators will have to copy their files for them. If not, you have to enable what we call roaming profile. And when you enable roaming profile, what it means is that their profile will be loaded to every time they log on to another computer, their profile will be loaded. And this is going to eat up resources. So what folder redirection does is that it allows administrators to move some important folders in the user's profile to a central location so that wherever the person logs onto, that file will be loaded from that central location. I don't know if you get me. So what this means is that if you have a user that is using multiple computers in the environment, it means that a copy of their profile is going to be stuck at the various places. But when you do folder redirection, it ensures that wherever the person moves, his important files also moves with them. So just like the software installation with the folder reader, so you can see that our Chrome is on our client now, which means that our policy is okay. Our policy is okay. So when it comes to the folder redirection, what we do is that to do folder redirection, you first have to create a central location where you want the files to be stored. So again, we'll go to our attached drive here, and I'll create another folder, and we'll call this folder user files, or just users. We can call it this. And then again, it has to be shared. So properties, advanced sharing, share this folder, you go to the permissions, you remove everyone, and then you click add, and then you add authenticated users, nicknames, authenticated users. Okay. And then you click OK. So you want to give them change here. And then you click apply. Okay. 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 Then the next thing you want to do is you want to come to the security tab. We'll go to the advanced settings, and then we'll disable inheritance as usual. Convert the inherited permissions. Okay. And then we will go back to the advanced again. We'll remove the users. And then we want to add the authenticated users. So select a principal. We want to add the authenticated users. So check names, authenticated users. Okay. So once you add them, again, you see we have this folder, subfolders. No, you don't want them to have access to the subfolders. Because if you want them to have access to the subfolders, what it means is that they'll be able to access other users' folders. And you don't want that to be the case. So this folder only, they should access this folder. And show advanced options. You want to give them create folders / append data. So what this means is that a folder will be created for them in their name, and in that folder they will be able to add data. So be very careful here. This is what you want to give them: create folders and what? Append data. You're not going to give them write or modify or anything. You give them create folders and append data. When you are doing folder redirection, this is the safest way to do this. Then you click OK. And then you apply. So you see they have a special permission. And so you click OK. That's all. So once this is shared, the next is the policy itself, but then you need the path. So I'll go back to the sharing, and then I will copy the path. Okay, close. So we'll go to the group policy management. We want to create another object, another group policy object. We'll call this folder redirection. Okay. The next is to edit the folder. Edit. So I think folder redirection is under users. Administrative templates. In fact, I've forgotten where it is. Okay, it's here. Folder redirection. Under Windows settings, folder redirection. So now the question is, which of the folders do you want to redirect? And just for the purpose of those who, for the sake of those who may not know where these folders are coming from, when you go to any user machine and you go to local drive C, this PC, local disk C, and then you go to users and you pick any of the users that have logged in there. These are the folders you are seeing there. So these are the things that we want to redirect. And then view. If I show hidden files, you can see app data is there. So these are the things that we are looking to what? We are looking to redirect. So if you see those folders there, that is what it means. If you see those folders there, that is what it means. So when I come back here, the question is, which of these do I want to redirect? Now, if we redirect the app data contains the user's settings, like how your browser behaves, your cached passwords and everything. Those things are all stored in your app data. So if you want to redirect that, you can do that. So you double click, you right click on it, and then you go to properties. So when you go to properties, currently it is not configured, but when you drop down, you can say what basic, or you can say advanced. If it's advanced, it means that you can specify location for the various user groups. So maybe you don't want everyone's folder to go to the same place. You want IT people to have their own location. You want the cyber people to have their own location. You can go that way. Or you can say redirect everyone's folder to the same location. Let's say that is what we want to do. So what do we want to do then? Target folder location. So create a folder for each user under the root path. Are we okay? Or you can say redirect to the following location. Or you can say redirect to the local user profile location. This will be probably after maybe you no longer want to do folder redirection and you want to turn the policy so that the folder, everyone's folder goes back to their location. So under the root path, it means we have to specify the root path. So if I put the path there, then it's saying that if there is a user called Claire, then it will create a folder first for the user called Claire. And then it will now put the app data in there and put the roaming folder in there. Now, don't be too quick to click apply. You go to settings. Now, when you go to settings, it says grant user exclusive rights to this. Are we okay? And then move content of app data to the new location. And this applies to that. In case the policy is removed, what do you want it to do? So we will say, in case the policy is removed, we want to redirect the folder back to the local user profile location when the policy is removed. And the other thing, this is where the problem is. If you say grant the user exclusive rights to the app data, what it means is that only the user will be able to access this file. Now, if there is any problem and the administrator need to access this folder, the administrator will not be able to access this folder because it's only the user who will have access to this folder. But then again, we can check. So we'll click apply. It says if there are group policy settings for folder redirection, Windows 2000, blah, blah. We're not using Windows 2000 or XP. So we don't need that particular last settings there. So just click yes. And then okay. We can add maybe desktop. Maybe you want to redirect the person's desktop. You want to redirect their documents. These are ones that you may want to redirect. So we'll just, since we've already done one, we will just go through the settings quickly. And then we'll redirect them. Settings. All right. Apply. So that's documents. Maybe we can add a desktop. So properties. Basic. Yeah. All right. Apply. Okay. So that's all. Downloads, I don't think you need to redirect downloads because if people are downloading movies, it means that it's going to eat up your storage space. So, I mean, the important things. And in this way, you don't even have to tell the users to store their files in a particular location because by default, all Word documents go to documents. And so once they are working and saving things in document, automatically, those documents are going to be moved to the file server. So in this case, even though they are going to be seeing it, it's not sitting on their machine. So if anything happens and you reformat their machine and then they log in, once they log in, they have their files back. All right, so we can close this and then we will link it again to the domain and then we'll just say yes. And then we will run the GP update. Remember, this is user configuration. So what it means is that So whilst this is going, I just want to check something. So tools, Active Directory users and computers, users, administrator is a member of Maverick rating, domain users, seasonal domain users, and all that. All right. Okay. So what I want to do is this. So it says that we have to log off and log back in. So yes, we'll log off and log back in. So I also want to run GP update here, but we need to test our we need to test the policy to see whether it's working or not. So I may have to bring up the DC2. You know, it's been off for quite some time now. So what I'll do is when it's done resuming, I'll rather restart it so that it will take time and then get whatever needs to be received. Okay, so where are you? Oh, okay, but this is DC1 and this is DC2. So I want to restart it. All right, so let it restart and then when it's done, we will log in. But then we can log in here. So you can see applying folder redirection policy. So what that means is that if the administrator should log onto the client, whatever he has on his, or whatever machine he logs onto, whatever he has on his desktop will also be available on the other machine. So let's give it time for the policy to be applied and then, all right. So someone will ask like, how do you know that the thing is no longer there? So when the other machine is done, but let's go to the drive and then see what happened there. So when we come here, when we go to users, you can see a folder has been created for administrator because he has logged in. The client has not yet logged, the user has not yet logged in. And you can see the things removed. We moved app data, we moved desktop, and we moved documents. So those ones are here. All right, so let's see. So you can see it is applying the folder redirection policy also here. And basically what that now means is that because we moved the desktop, whatever you put on the desktop, you should have the same thing on the other system. So let's give it a little time and see, because our other policy did not even come. The software has not been installed. Upcoming user PNG AP update. Okay. So let me switch user on the client here, other, and then do Maverick /administrator. So it means that the administrator account has been used to log on to 3 devices at the same time. And some of these things sometimes take a little time before they reflect. So when you do it, you have to give it a little time. You have to give it a little time. Okay, I think now it is installing the software and all that. So I think after that, everything should be fine. So you can see we have this MP3 file on the DC1. And when we're doing it, the other system was not on. The other system was not on. So it's our hope that when the system is done loading, the MP3 is going to be located there. And once our desktop has become black, I know that there are positive things coming our way. So, but the administrator account is used to log on here, but we don't have the MP3 there. Like I said, sometimes you have to give it a little time. So let's see what's happening here. But you can see that there is this synchronization icon there. So this tells you that it is synchronizing. At first, it was not there. But now you have it on the desktop, you have it on the document, and I'm sure if we should enable hidden files, you will see it on the app data. So this PC local disk users. So at least this tells you that your setting is working. This tells you, I can't find it's supposed to be administrator.domain. This tells you that your setting is working. Once the synchronization icons come there, it tells you that your setting is working. And so all that you need is just time for the folders to synchronize, because the first one is bringing its files, the second one is bringing its files. So it needs to synchronize it and have one unique file on the shared folder. Let me check if it hasn't created multiple folders for the administrator. All right, so it's still one. So that is good. It's still one. So we just have to give it a little time and then they will be in full sync. And from there, whatever file one administrator has, the other administrator will also have it. So you let me check to make sure that the synchronization is going on here too. So this, do you see? So this one is not even having the synchronization icon. No, it's the same thing. You do. The table net is off. This is connected, is that one is connected to. And that's why I picked. All right. So basically that is how folder redirection is done, but we'll have to give it some time for it to synchronize. I'm sure that if we have the luxury to sit back and wait and probably restart our machines and all that, we will have all the files synchronizing on the accounts that we have used to log in. It just needs time for the synchronization to complete. If you have a question, you can ask. I'll try to restart the whole systems. It will take some time. But you should also try it on your end and then. Okay, so can administrator use a client machine to access a server and make changes to or make configurations on the server from the client machine? Well, it depends on the kind of change that the administrator wants to make. And since you have asked, I think maybe let me just add this one as bonus. And by the administrator, mostly you are not allowed to access the client, the server from a client. Most administrators use remote desktop to remote into the server and then work from there. That one is allowed. But there is also a tool called RSAT, Remote Server Administration Tool. And that one, let me quickly just download and then show you how RSAT works, and then you can just go away. But again, as an administrator, if you are working on a client machine, you should never use your admin account on the client machine. It's a very, very bad practice. You should use standard account, and then when you want to do something on the server, you elevate your privilege, use runners, or you remote into the server and then you work from there. And these days, there are even other management tools that are available that people are using, like the AD manager. So let's download RSAT. RSAT stands for Remote Server Administration Tool, and it's basically a tool that allows you to remotely manage the server from a client. It's a nice tool, and mostly we use RSAT for what we call delegation of control. If, for example, I want someone to do certain things for me, maybe we have employed somebody who is supposed to be or maybe someone is in a department and we want that person to be able to manage the users in that department. We can delegate control to that user. And because we don't want the user to remote onto the server, we can use the RSAT to grant the user access. So I'll just show you how the RSAT works. Okay, so I think it's done. So let me quickly go to the client and then I'm logged in as administrator. And like I said, I can do remote desktop to the administrator. But then let me show you RSAT also. So I'm just going to navigate to the all right. All right. So I'm just going to install the RSAT because I'm logged in as admin. This shouldn't be a big deal. So once this is done, I will restart the entire lab set so that I'm sure by then the systems will have come to their senses. But have you noticed something? Guys, have you noticed that I put the RSAT on the client, but it is showing on the desktop of the DC2.
Yes,
Can you see it?
boss. Yeah.
Yeah, so it means that our folder redirection is working. I just need to restart the DC1. That's all. So what it means is that if I create a new folder here, new folder, automatically this should appear on the desktop of the client. And you can see it there. Do you see the new folder there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I put the name and call the name, let's say Louise, and hit enter, when I go here, you should see the file there. So it means that folder redirection is working. I just need to restart the DC1. I think it has a small headache. But basically, what this RSAT installation is going to do is that when it is done installing, it's going to bring the server manager to the client. So the client will have the server manager. And then it will be, you can open the server manager and open Active Directory and all the other things on the client like you're on the server. Are we clear? So let's give it some few minutes to finish installing. And let me quickly use the washroom. Okay, so I think it's done. So once this is done, when I come to start and I scroll through the options here, you can see that there is server manager. And I think for us to best appreciate this, let me sign out of here as administrator. I think our goal has been achieved. We have seen that the administrator, the files are syncing. There's just an issue with the DC1 that I need to probably restart it to get it sorted. Okay. So I'm going to log in with my standard account, the Luis account, so that I'll show you what the LSAT is, and then maybe we can end the session. You know that the Luis account is just a standard account. And so if you are going to use the LSAT, you have to make sure that you are not logging into that machine as administrator. Because if somebody gets the administrator's password, I mean, if the person gets the administrator's password, the person does not even need to be on the client machine. The person can go directly to the server. But if you are using the LSAT on a client machine, make sure that you have the standard account. So if I come here and then I go to server manager, you can see that we have the server manager here, like we have in the Active Directory. But then the difference is that because this is not a server, so you are not seeing the server stuff there. Are we okay? And because you've not been made or given rights to do anything, you can't see information about the servers and all that. But when I come to tools, you have the Active Directory and everything. And I can open the Active Directory users and computers. And I have everything here, right? So you can see the domain controllers, you can see the department. So let me try to go and make myself administrator since I can see everything. So when I double click this user and I go to member of, he is just member of domain users. I want to make him administrator. So I click administrators and I click OK. And I click apply. It says you do not have permission to modify the group of the user. This is because even though LSAT is installed and the person can see it, the person can't do anything unless permission has been given to the user. Same way if I go to tools, I can go to group policy management. I can go to group policy management and then expand everything. Maybe I don't like the folder redirection policy, so I want to delete it. Delete. Are you sure? Yes. It says access is denied. So basically what I'm trying to pass across is that unless you are given a right from the administrator, you won't be able to do anything. And the administrator can do this by delegating control. The administrator can do this by delegating control. So on the server, on DC1, you can go to the um, okay. Please fall. When you are falling, please be gentle. All right. Good evening. Okay, so when I come here and I want to make sure that that user will be able to manage other users, I'll have to delegate control to him. So in Active Directory users and computers, I can say that I want him to manage things under IT, so I can delegate control. So you have it here, delegate control, and then you can click next, and then you can add the user or group to whom you want to delegate control. So I just want to delegate control to Luis. So I can say Luis Jensi, okay. And then I'll click next. And then I want to delegate common tasks. Okay, even though you can create a custom task, I just want him to be able to create, delete, and manage user accounts. That is all. Or if no, I don't even want him to create user account. I want him to just reset password. So when somebody forgets their password in his department, he should be able to allow the reset the password for the person. That is what I want him to be able to do. So I just click next and then finish. That's all. So now when I go back to the client and then server manager, tools, Active Directory users and computers. Now he can reset passwords, right? But let's see something. If I go to finance and then I double click on any, right click on a user and then I say reset password. When I put a password, you see, I'm not able to say the user must change password. And when I click OK to, it's not going to work because the right he was given the right on IT. So even though he's been given the right to reset password, it's not for everyone. It's only for the IT department. And so when I come to the IT department itself, and then maybe I right click on any of these users and I go to reset password, because he has the right, you notice that even this now is active. Even this is now active, but where the other one, if you paid attention, you notice that it was grayed out because he's not been given the right to reset the password there. So I can reset this password and I won't have any issue. And then just click OK. And yes, the password has been successfully changed. So you can use the RSAT to manage. If you are logged in as administrator and you're using the RSAT, because the administrator has privileges, he can do whatever he wants to do from the RSAT on a client machine. Roman, does that answer your question? Roman,
Sir?
does it answer your question?
Yes, sir.
All
Clear.
right. So if there are no further questions, my work here is done for the evening. So this also means that we've drawn the curtains on group policy. God willing, tomorrow we'll talk about DNS and then we'll pause on our on-prem and talk about cloud stuff and then create our cloud account and see how we can link things. So thank you very much, guys, and have a good evening.
Thank you so much, sir.